We could hear debris hitting our house. Finally, we could hear the tornado roaring down our street. We got down and prayed.
5 years ago, residents of Cullman were glued to their TVs and radios. They listened to a familiar voice tell them to seek shelter as a violent tornado headed towards their beloved town. Cullman East Elementary School on 4th Avenue Southeast was hit by the EF4 tornado. Thankfully, school was canceled that day. Once the initial shock of the storm wore off, several teachers helped create a booklet of thank you letters written by the 5th graders at EES. Those letters were for our very own James Spann. Now 5 years later, those same students are sophomores at Cullman High School. They've written new letters to James expressing their gratitude for him keeping families safe and ultimately saving their lives.
Dear Mr. Spann.
Dear James Spann.
Dear Mr. Spann.
Dear Mr. Spann, as we near the 5-year anniversary of the April 27th tornadoes, I'm reminded that so much has changed in my life and in my community since that day.
I can't believe that 5 years ago the tornadoes hit. I was in Ms. Sharpen's 5th grade class.
A few memories really stand out from my 5 years there, and one of them was the tornadoes.
When I walked in, leaves were scattered about and the overhead projector had fallen in the floor, and the windows were all busted out. To think if I had been in that classroom.
I live right down the road from the Busy Bee and can remember you saying, if you're in between Cullman's Courthouse and East Elementary School, take cover.
That is a large wedge tornado that is coming through downtown Cullman.
That's the house that was flipped around, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was picked up and then turned and like sat back down.
And that is going to be coming out to the northeast.
What you did on April 27, 2011 had a great impact on many of our lives.
Because of your dedication to your job, my brother is still alive.
If I were to be in town, or even at my church, I'd most likely have died that day.
Whenever I'm under a tornado warning, I'm more nervous than I should be since April 27th. But I know that if my parents have ABC 3340 on the TV or radio, we will be safe.
In the last 5 years, we have planted trees, we have rebuilt houses, and we have helped build a stronger bond between each other.
As my sophomore year is coming to a close, I'm preparing to go to college. When I think back to that day, I'm very happy to know that we had you as our weatherman to help us get through those tough times.
What would you tell him? I would hug him.
You're a legend.
I do love him.
Now here to join me right now and to present James with a new book of letters 5 years later. The same kids who wrote this book have all written you a separate book. This is Colby, Mary Ashley, and Mallory. They all joined me last week when we did this, and they have something they want to send and say
Here's
to you.
a book that we've written 5 years later. Thank you for all that you do for us.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
You didn't tell me. They didn't tell me that we're going to do this, all right? I mean,
and I want to say something personally as well. As a colleague of yours, you also saved my life when I was a junior at the University of Alabama, so I appreciate that as well. And you saved my life and my sorority sister's lives.
old men cry very easily, and I'm just saying, I'm not going to go there, but you're very kind to say that. Thank y'all for coming down. I love the Bearcats. You guys are doing great. How's high school?
It was good.
That's great. See, I knew them when they were in like 5th grade. So.
Exactly.
But I've been coming to East Elementary for years, but it's always been a joy to visit the kids. And when y'all gave me that book, I stopped. I stopped and read that book when I got out of town a little bit, and I started reading those letters, and I just started crying. I had to put it down. I could not read it until much later. I finally read all of those about 3 months later. So I will read these at a time where I feel strong and ready, but I will read every word that you wrote. So thank you, and God bless you guys.
Well, we thank all of you guys for coming.
Okay.
And that was a complete surprise.
Yes, it was. And James, you're not alone. I think a lot of us really would like to cry a little bit, just seeing the images, but also seeing those children that you saved their lives, and they're here today because of it.